Guilford okay. Guilford opined that personality is nothing but the individual's unique pattern of traits. Trait for him is any distinguishable, relatively enduring way in which one person differs from another. So, any distinguishable, relatively enduring way, relatively stable way in which one person differs from another. And Guilford used factor analysis to develop his theory. Factor analysis is a statistical technique. Guilford concluded that there are 7 modalities of traits. There are 7 types of traits. They are morphological, physiological, needs, interests, attitudes, aptitudes, and temperament. Your morphological traits and physiological traits together, they are called somatic traits because they are a reflection of our body and physiological processes. And there are the other 5 traits. They are psychological traits. Physiological traits and morphological traits, they are together called somatic traits. Then 3 other traits, needs, interests, and attitudes. These 3 together called hormetic traits, hormetic dimensions of personality. They are adaptive response to the environment. Needs motivate the person towards certain condition, towards certain response. You respond according to your need. So needs propel you, motivate you, drives you to do something.
Excuse me, ma'am.
So,
okay. Poor connectivity. You are not audible to us.
I am not audible. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Now you are audible to us.
Okay. So needs drive a person to show a particular response. So need is adaptive. Interests determine your goal towards which you are attracted. So you behave according to your interest. And thirdly, attitude. Attitude is a disposition. Attitude, depending on your attitude, you favor or do not favor a object or an action. So attitude reflects your degree of favorableness towards an object or an action. So these attitude determines if you are favorable towards an action, then obviously you will do it. Okay, so these 3 determine or motivate you to do a particular response. So it is they are combined and form a group called hormetic responses. Then there is another trait, aptitude. Aptitude, do you know what is aptitude? Aptitude refers to how well you can perform a given activity. Okay, so how well you can perform a given activity. So this represents a dimension of ability. Aptitude is a special ability. Okay, so aptitudes are abilities, but not all abilities are aptitudes. Okay, there are some general abilities, they are not considered as aptitudes. For example, suppose you are very tall, okay, you are very tall, so you can bring an object from the topmost rack of an almirah. You can reach there and you can bring an object. Definitely this is your ability. Since you are tall, you can do it. You can reach the topmost rack. But this is not your aptitude. Okay, aptitude is something, if you are given training, you will excel. You have a special ability. You are, for example, you have a musical aptitude. Then you must be appreciating music. You have an ability to appreciate music, to produce music. Okay. So, aptitudes are abilities, but abilities are not always aptitudes. And intelligence, coming to Guilford is known for his theory of intelligence, famous theory, structure of intellect model. You must have heard this, structure of intellect model. According to Guilford, intelligence is a general aptitude. Okay. So, Guilford defined intelligence in terms of 5 categories of operations, 6 categories of product, and 4 categories of content. Details you must have been taught in your intelligence class. So there are altogether 5 into 6 into 4, 120 factors or components of intelligence according to Guilford. And later, he expanded the total number of components from 120 to 180. 6 operations, 6 product, and 5 content. So 6 into 6 into 5 is 180 components. He expanded it. And another trait according to Guilford is temperament. Temperament refers to the manner in which the individual performs a behavior. Okay, so whether a person is impulsive, tolerant, or critical, all these reflect his temperament. And Guilford developed a scale to measure the temperament of the person. It is known as Guilford-Zimmermann temperament survey. So this is the theory of Guilford. Then the most acceptable, popular, recent theory is 5-factor model. Now it has become very popular, 5-factor model. It is known as big 5-factor. They are calling. Macrae and Costa, they talked of big 5-factor model. So what are the big 5 factors? First, extraversion. Second, neuroticism. Third, conscientiousness. Fourth, agreeableness. And fifth, openness. What are they? Extraversion, it is the quality and intensity of interpersonal interaction. High scorers on this factor, those who are high on extraversion, they are characterized by being sociable, active, talkative, person-oriented, etc. Then comes neuroticism. Neuroticism factor assesses emotional instability. So, those who are high on neuroticism, they are emotionally unstable, they are moody, they are irritable, they experience negative emotions more than those who are low on emotional, low on neuroticism. Okay. The third factor is conscientiousness. Conscientiousness refers to the person's degree of organization, persistence, goal-directed behavior. So a person who is high on conscientiousness is goal-directed, dependable, organized, responsible, reliable, um, and so on. Then comes agreeableness. Agreeableness refers to the interpersonal orientation of the person. One who is high on agreeableness is cooperative. Cooperative. He is well adjusted. He is forgiving. He is helpful. He can work with other people. He is cooperative. He is trustful. He is trusting. He can trust people. On the other hand, who is low on agreeableness is a suspicious, cynical, uncooperative, um, and he cannot work with other people. Then the last factor is openness. Openness is our tendency to experience new things. So, who is high on openness is creative. Okay. So these 5 letters of the big 5 dimensions, they they form a short form. It is known called as ocean. O for openness, C for conscientiousness, E for extraversion, A for agreeableness, and N for neuroticism. So it is ocean. And within these traits, big factors, there are some facets. Each trait has 6 facets. So there is a scale developed by McRae and Costa known as NEO-PI. NEO-PI, N for neuroticism, E for extraversion, and O for openness. This scale measured these 3 dimensions of these big 5 factors. Later on, the authors of the test developers, added more items to measure the other 2 traits, that is agreeableness and conscientiousness. So the revised version of the NEO-PI is known as NEO-PIR. PI for personality inventory. NEO-PIR. So NEO-PIR measures the 5 big factors, and under each big factor there are 6 facets. So altogether NEO-PIR gives 30 scores. So these are some of the trait theories. Then we should move on to psychodynamic theories. Okay. Psychodynamic theories include Freud's psychoanalytic theory as well as later theories which are known as Neo-Freudian theories. Okay. So, psychodynamic approach to personality originated with the works of Sigmund Freud. Freud's theory is known as psychoanalytic theory. Freud assumed that you must be knowing many things about Freud. So Freud assumed that our behavior and feelings are affected by unconscious motives. Three assumptions. Okay, Freud developed his theory, based his theory on three basic assumptions. First, the role of unconscious. Unconscious motives determine your behavior. So the unconscious power of unconscious is very high. Unconscious plays a central role in Freud's theory. Second assumption is our adult
Hello, your microphone is microphone. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Sir, kindly call madam. Call madam
Okay, okay,
and
okay, okay,
ask
okay.
her to.
Okay, okay, okay. Just I'm calling. on कर दो हाँ एला आगे okay I did it hello hello hello
Hello?
yes it's okay
Sorry, students. Hello?
Ma'am, we are discussing the assumptions on the basis Sigmund Freud has
Might develop.
his theory.
Okay. So the first assumption is
The first assumption you have told, ma'am.
okay. The second assumption is our childhood experiences determine our behavior as adult. Okay. And the third assumption is personality.
Excuse me, ma'am. Hello.
Okay. Yes. Yes, you are
Ma'am,
saying
can you
something.
Not properly
Ma'am, can you-
audible.
Hmm?
Now,
can
now
you
you are
please
audible, ma'am.
repeat the
Please
second
repeat the
assumption?
second assumption.
Yes. The second assumption is childhood experiences determine adult behavior. So each behavior which now it can be rooted to our childhood experiences. Okay. Then the third assumption is personality develops in stages, qualitatively different stages. It develops through qualitatively different stages. Okay. So let us discuss about Freud's theory. Freud talks of three levels of mind. Okay, there are three mind. The mind operates on three levels of consciousness. So the mind has three levels. First, conscious mind. Conscious, the state of consciousness. The conscious mind is the conscious mind consists of whatever we are thinking and perceiving now. Okay. So conscious mind can be compared to your short-term memory. Conscious mind consists of all those informations of which you are aware now. Got it? The second part of mind, the second level of mind is pre-conscious. Pre-conscious consists of those informations of which you are not aware at the present moment. Okay? At the present moment, you are not aware of those informations. But whenever needed, you can bring them to your conscious mind easily. Got it? Suppose now, what is in your conscious mind? You are hearing my lecture, so you are thinking about Freud. So Freud and my whatever I am telling, all these are in your conscious mind. You are not thinking about what you have had in your breakfast. Are you thinking of it? Whether you had dosa or you had idli, you are not thinking about it. So dosa or idli is not in your conscious mind. But if you ask you, what have you had in your breakfast? You can easily tell it. You can bring this information to your conscious mind. Okay? Got it? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am, got you.
thank you. So, pre-conscious mind can be compared to our long-term memory. Presently, the informations are not in our conscious mind, but they can be brought to the conscious level. And the third level is unconscious mind.
Excuse me,
Yes? Yes? What are you saying?
ma'am. Ma'am, can we consider the
Hmm? Please repeat
hello,
your question. Hello?
ma'am? Can we? Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Can we? What is your
Can
question?
we consider?
Hmm?
Can we consider the preconscious part as a knowledge getting part of the mind?
Your knowledge getting, you cannot say, you can, your knowledge is stored. It is stored. You can use that knowledge. Okay. So it can be compared to your long-term memory. Do you know what is long-term memory? You have stored your experiences there. Whenever required, you can retrieve them and use it. It is like that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. And the third part is unconscious. The unconscious mind contains all of the memories, desires, our instincts, of which we are unaware. Okay. We cannot get them back to our conscious level very easily. It is very difficult to get them to the conscious level, to bring them to the conscious level. So, unconscious mind is the storehouse of our desires, memories, instincts, which we have forgotten. Mostly, they are so unpleasant that we cannot tolerate if they are brought to the conscious mind. That's why they are dumped in the unconscious mind. Our hostile feelings, our sexual cravings, our fears, our aggressions, all are stored in our unconscious mind. And Freud compared the mind as an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg floating in water. Have you observed? The tip of the ice is only visible. That is compared to conscious mind, and the major portion of the iceberg is within the water. It is not seen. It is not visible, and that is our unconscious mind. 80% of materials are in our unconscious mind. This is regarding our levels of consciousness or topographical model of mind. Then come to structure of personality. This is known as dynamic model, dynamic view. Structure of personality, according to Freud, personality has three parts. Okay. First, the id. Second, the ego. And the third is superego. You very well know, I assume that you know about id-ego and superego. Id is present at birth. It is totally unconscious, and id refers to our biological instincts, sexual desires, aggressive impulses, our primitive needs. And id strives for immediate gratification of the desires. By any means, it wants to satisfy its desires. So the id is governed by pleasure principle. It demands the satisfaction of desires without regard for the consequences. The second part of the personality is the ego. Ego is reality based, so it requires immediate gratification of needs, which may be dangerous. We live in a society, so we have to work according to the social demands. So we have to consider the reality, and ego operates according to the demands of the reality. So the ego is governed by the reality principle. The ego is present in all the three levels of consciousness. And the third part is superego. Superego is our refers to our moral values, our morality. The child accepts the parental views of ideal behavior and their moral values, their knowledge about what is right and what is wrong. So superego refers to our conscience, our morality, and it is governed by morality principle. So these three parts of the personality, they are in constant interplay with each other. Ego wants to satisfy its desires. The superego says, no, it is not right. Immediate satisfaction is not right. It is immoral. So there is a conflict between id and superego, and the ego balances between the two. Ego has to satisfy the desires of the id, and at the same time it has to satisfy the superego. So it balances. So in Freud's ego is very plays a very important role, in fact. And we know to perform every activity we need energy. Okay, so Freud talked of two types of energy: physiological energy and psychic energy. Physiological energy is used in physical activities like running, writing, etc. Psychic energy is used in psychological work. So whenever these id, ego and superego, they are in action, psychic energy is spent. Psychic, the actions of id, ego and superego require psychic energy, which Freud names as the libido. Okay? So libido is the mental counterpart of physiological or physical energy. And when these three components of personality, they interact, what happens? Suppose its desires are not satisfied. They are biological instincts, biological needs. So if our biological needs are not satisfied, what will happen? We have to survive. So biological needs are to be satisfied. So when the biological needs are not satisfied, it creates a great amount of anxiety. anxiety is produced. Why it is not satisfied? Due to the pressure of the superego. Superego imposes its value that it is not right to satisfy the desires now at the present moment. So the ego cannot satisfy, the id cannot satisfy its desires at the moment. So the person, it creates a vast amount of anxiety. In order to reduce the anxiety, the ego, what does the ego do? The ego distorts the reality slightly so that it is acceptable to the superego. When the superego, it is acceptable to the superego, then there is no harm in satisfying the desires of the id. Okay, so the ego distorts the reality in order to reduce the anxiety. This mechanism is known as defense mechanism. So the ego operates defense mechanisms in order to deal with the anxiety. There are several defense mechanisms: denial, repression, regression, reaction formation, projection, etc. A number of defense mechanisms are there. The most primitive defense mechanism is repression. What is repression? It is you are pushing out the unpleasant memories are pushed out of the conscious mind and they are forced to go to the unconscious mind. Okay, so we forget them. Unconscious mind, something is in our unconscious mind means we cannot recall them. It is forgotten. So it is pushed out of our conscious memory to the unconscious mind. Repression is the most primitive type of defense mechanism. And whenever we repress many things, a great amount of energy, libido, is expended, is used. And you know the defense mechanisms, so I should not go into them. Denial is you deny the source of anxiety. You deny that the source of anxiety exists. Then fantasy or daydreaming. You are imagining that your wishes are being satisfied. Another defense mechanism is regression. It is moving back to the earlier stage. Whenever we are stressed, we mentally move back to an earlier stage of development. Then reaction formation. The reaction formation is whatever we think, we do just the opposite. What is there in our unconscious desire, we just do the opposite thing. Suppose we hate somebody, the opposite behavior is we show our love to him or her. Projection is ascribing unwanted impulses to someone else, as if the original impulses belong to him. Rationalization is finding a rational explanation for irrational behavior. we explain our irrational behavior in rational terms. So these are some of the defense mechanisms. Then come to development of personality. In his theory, what did Freud said? Our id consists of our biological instincts. In Freud's theory, actually, sex instinct plays a major role. So, sex plays a major role in Freud's theory. Of course, Freud's view of sex is broader than our view of sex. What do we mean by sex? It is the union of a male and female. We understand by sex, union of a male and a female. But Freud understands anything pleasurable is sex, sexual pleasure. Anything pleasurable is sexual pleasure. So it is somewhat broader. Freud has a broader understanding of sex than our understanding of sex. So sex, since sex is very important in Freud's theory, Freud opines that with the developing sexuality, our personality develops. Okay, so his theory of personality development is known as psychosexual development of personality, and his stages of personality are called psychosexual stages of personality development. Personality, according to Freud, develops in 5 psychosexual stages. Through 5 psychosexual stages. The characteristic of these stages is that during each stage, the person gets pleasure through a different part of the body. Okay, the region through which we get pleasure is known as erogenous zone. Erogenous zone. So, in each psychosexual stage, the erogenous zone shifts from one part of the body to another part. Got it? It changes. Erogenous zone changes. And through erogenous zone, we get pleasure. Okay. If we suppose we are deprived of getting pleasure, or we are overusing the erogenous zone, then what happens? The person is fixated, person gets stuck to the particular stage at which the erogenous zone is maximally used either, or it is inadequately used. Okay, so inadequate use or overuse of erogenous zone leads to fixation. Fixation means we get stuck to a particular stage, of which stage the erogenous zone is either overused or inadequately used, underused. So, fixated, get stuck, that doesn't mean that we do not develop. We develop, because our age increases and with age we also develop. But fixated means we bring the burden of emotional burden of that stage with us. We develop, but we take the emotional burden of that particular stage to which we are fixated with us. Whenever as adult we face problems or we are stressed, we show behavior characteristic of that particular stage, psychosexual stage, to which we have been fixated. Okay. So, due to fixation, our personality changes. Extend from
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am. Hello?
Oh, hello? 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 Are you saying something?
Yes, ma'am.
Please repeat it. Yes?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
are you
Now you are audible. Hello?
Okay. Okay. So, in oral stage, what does the newborn baby do? Suck the breast and or drink. So, she gets pleasure through her mouth. The erogenous zone during oral stage is mouth. They get pleasure mouth. Okay. So, if fixation occurs during this stage, then the person becomes an oral personality. Oral personality means as adults, he uses his mouth to get pleasure. The characteristics of the
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am. Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello, yes, ma'am.
Hello? Yes, are you audible? Am I audible? Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, somebody is saying.
Ma'am, now you are audible, but for last 1 minute or so you are not audible, so we couldn't hear you.
Okay, so oral personality, if fixation occurs, I am repeating, if fixation occurs during oral stage, then the person, the adult who is an oral personality, he tends to smoke, drink alcohol, eat a lot, loves eating and loves talking, talks a lot, and he or she has a tendency to bite his or her nail. So the person gets pleasure from using her mouth or his mouth. Then comes the second stage of psychosexual development, anal stage, the erogenous zone now shifts from mouth to the anal region. Anal stage lasts from 18 months to 3 years. During this period, parents are concerned about the child toilet training of the child. Okay, so when the child gets toilet training, the child is told to defecate or defecate at a particular place, at a particular time. They are told to use toilet in a particular manner to defecate. Okay, so the child is told to use toilet means he is told to control his body. He now cannot, a 2-year-old child cannot defecate whenever and wherever he or she wants, because the parents do not allow him or her. The parents emphasize on using the toilets. So for using toilets, they have to control their pressure. Okay, so from this control of their body, they learn to control their body, and now as they know, they learn to control their body, the ego develops. Okay, so the ego develops during the anal stage. Id is present at birth, but the ego develops in the anal stage. And if the persons, suppose the parents are very harsh for the toilet training, when the parents give very harsh toilet training, then what happens? Two things may happen. The child may be stubborn. He defecates whenever, everywhere, whenever and wherever he wants. The child doesn't listen to his or her parents. Or another possibility is that the child is the child is afraid of parental punishment. So she thinks, if I do not defecate at all, I won't be punished. So no mess, no punishment. So the child doesn't want to defecate at all. If this happens, the child is fixated to the anal stage. So if the child is fixated, or the child tends to retain the fecal matter, he develops into an adult who is obsessed with cleanliness, perfection, and control. Okay. On the opposite end, the anal expulsive child develops into a disorganized, messy type of adult. Okay. Then the third stage is the phallic stage. The phallic stage lasts from age 3 to 6 years. A 3-year-old child becomes conscious, or we may say becomes aware of the physical differences between a boy and a girl. Okay, a 3-year-old boy is aware of the fact that he has some physical organ which is not present in the girl child. Similarly, the girl child also becomes aware of the fact that she lacks an organ which his or her boy counterparts have. What is that organ? That is penis. Since why this stage is known as phallic stage, the word phallic comes from the word phallus. It is a Greek word. Phallus means penis. Because the penis is very important in this stage, it is called so. So, the boy, when he knows that he has a penis which girls do not have, he thinks it is very important, it is very valuable, so I should not lose it. The boy is very afraid of losing the penis. And the girl who becomes aware that she does not have a penis, she feels inferior. She feels inferior. She feels incomplete without having a penis. So in both the sexes, penis plays an important role. So what happens here? Now the penis is important. So the erogenous zone shifts from anus to the genitalia. Okay? Genitalia. So the since the erogenous zone is now the genitalia, what a male child does, she is sexually attracted towards the opposite sex parent. It is known as Oedipus complex. Attraction of a male child towards his mother. The boy is sexually attracted towards the mother, but the father is there. The boy sees his father as a competitor, and the father is more powerful. So the boy has a fear of losing his penis. Maybe the father, if the father is angry, he may take away his penis. So what the male child does, he represses his, he tries to satisfy his father. How? He does whatever his father does. He imitates his father. He imitates his father's behavior, his father's values, his father's notion of right and wrong. So he identifies with his father. Okay? Since the ego is developed, ego has already been developed in anal stage, so the boy can now use defense mechanisms. Boy's ego can use defense mechanisms. So the boy represses his sexual attraction towards the mother and tries to identify with the father. Whatever the father thinks is right, the boy also thinks it is right. From this identification, the superego develops. Sense of right and wrong develops. Okay? So the superego develops in the third psychosexual stage, that is the phallic stage. And similar thing happens in girls. Girls have a sexual attraction towards their father. It is known as Electra complex. the boy who is fixated at the fixated to the phallic stage as adult most often becomes mama's boy. He is very much attached to his mother. Mama, he becomes mama's boy. So and many times they become sexually promiscuous. The girls who are fixated to the phallic stage, a phallic fixated girl, when adult, he tries to be superior to his male friends by any means because he has an unconscious sense of incompleteness. So she tries to surpass his male friends, and usually these type of girls want to marry or want love a person who is like his father, somewhat like his father, somewhat older, much older than them. They prefer men who are much older than them. They prefer men who are similar to their father. Then comes the fourth stage, the latency stage. You know, it lasts from age 6 to puberty. At the age of 6, what happens? The child goes to school. Schooling begins. So schooling starts. Now the erogenous zone is in the genitalia, but the sexual instincts are repressed. They are suppressed. The libido is dormant. So the sexual desire is now hidden. Hidden means latent. That's why this stage is known as latency stage. During this stage, since the sexual urges remain repressed, the children interact and play with same-sex peers, and they are more interested to develop the skills which are required for to get him a job. These skills will him job. So latency stage, the child is fixated to the latency stage. He has adjustment problems, okay, and he becomes workaholic as adult. Then with the onset of puberty, sexual desire, sexual urges reappear, and we know the erogenous zone is genitalia. So when the sexual urges reappear, it is there in the genitalia. So this stage is known as genital stage. Genital stage with the onset of puberty, the boy again is attracted towards is attracted to the opposite sex peers or opposite sex members. For a 3-year-old child, the world is confined to his family. So the opposite sex partner, he cannot find any other opposite sex partner than his mother. So he was attracted towards his mother. But since now the boy is in school, the boy is grown up, the world is much larger. It is not confined to his family. So he seeks opposite sex partners outside his family. Okay. So these sexual stages of personality development. So for a well-adjusted person, the erogenous zone has to be in the genitalia, and the person has to be fixated to the genital stage. Okay, how can we evaluate Freud's theory? Freud's theory is a complete personality theory. It emphasizes the role of unconscious and childhood experiences, though many later psychologists they deny the role of unconscious, but modern psychologists, they again is the merits here cannot say group however many avoid um,
Ma'am, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt, but you are not at all audible. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, yes. Okay, it's okay, madam. Yeah.
Okay. So, students, have you was I thinking about nice?
Sorry to
Please
say that,
answer.
ma'am, but you are not at all audible.
Up to which was I audible? Up, up to which? Up to what?
Ma'am, we were discussing about, you were giving an insight about psychoanalytic approach by Freud.
Okay, I have completed it. Psychosexual development.
Yes, ma'am. And latency stage was also been discussed, and just a summary was you were giving.
Okay, so the last stage was the genital stage. The erogenous zone is the genitalia, and the individual gets pleasure from heterosexual activity. Okay. Freud's theory is a very powerful theory. We can comment on, where if we try to comment on Freud's theory, we may say it is a very powerful theory of a personality. It is a complete theory. Freud gave many new concepts like the role of unconscious, defense mechanisms, etc. But Freud has also been criticized. Freud's theory is criticized as not being scientific, because it is very difficult to prove Freud's views experimentally. Okay, Freud based his theory on case history method. His cases were mostly wealthy women, wealthy middle-aged women, neurotic women. So critics say that we cannot generalize Freud's theory to we cannot generalize Freud's theory. Secondly, Freud used many abstract concepts like the id, ego, and superego in such a manner as if they actually exist somewhere inside us. If we dissect our brain, we can find the id, but it is not the case. So Freud's theory is very abstract, but the abstract concepts are dealt in such a manner that as if they are they actually exist. Okay. After Freud, many of the Freud's disciples who once were working with Freud, they deflected from Freud. Why? They did not agree with Freud's overemphasis on sex instinct, sexuality. Since Freud emphasized on sexuality, these some of his followers, they didn't agree with him. Many of them, they agreed to some of Freudian's concepts and disagreed to some concepts, and they developed their own theories. They are called Neo-Freudians. Among the Neo-Freudians are Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, Erik Erikson, Karen Horney, Erich Fromm, and Harry Stack Sullivan. So, among the Neo-Freudians, one is Karen Horney. Karen Horney is important. Why? Because during 19th century, Victorian age, 18th, 19th century, when it was a male-dominated society, Karen Horney was a female, and she was the first female doctor of Europe, and she advocated the feminine psychology. Her theory is known as feminine psychology. Horney accepted some of the concepts, defense mechanisms, etc. But Horney did not accept Freud's concept of penis envy. What did Freud say? The female suffers from a sense of incompleteness, a sense of inferiority, because she doesn't have a penis. But to this point, Horney disagreed. Horney argued that rather males feel incomplete because they do not have the ability to produce children. They do not have a womb. They do not have the womb, so they cannot produce children. So they are jealous of their female counterparts. They feel inferior. They feel incomplete. Males feel incomplete. Horney names this concept as womb envy in males. Because of this womb envy, males try to compensate this incompleteness by achieving more in other areas. If the society supports, if the society doesn't restrict the females, the females can also achieve, females' achievement level can be at par with the males. That is what Horney said. And Horney's, coming to Horney's theory, a newborn child is very helpless. He has some basic needs. What are they? They are the need to be loved, need to be accepted, security needs. They have a need for warmth. So these are the child's basic needs. But the environment possesses some of the environmental factors which Horney says basic evils, which cause basic anxiety within the child. If the basic needs are not met, the child experiences basic anxiety. What are the basic evils? Lack of love, lack of acceptance, injustice, lack of warmth. All these are basic evils. They are environmental factors, and these basic evils cause basic anxiety, make the child feel basic anxiety. And if the basic needs are not met, the child develops some neurotic needs. For example, if the child is not accepted by her parent, the child is not loved by her parent, it is very likely that she develops a strong need for love, strong need for approval, strong need for acceptance. Okay, so we all need love and affection, but when it is out of proportion, it is indiscriminate. We want to be loved, we want to get affection, but do we need to be loved by anybody comes on our way? No. So when it is indiscriminate, it becomes out of proportion. When it becomes out of proportion, it becomes neurotic need. So to satisfy the neurotic needs, to cope with the neurotic needs, the person, the individual develops some defense mechanisms, some coping strategies. Okay. Horney talks of 3 coping strategies to deal with the neurotic needs. The coping strategies are moving toward strategy, moving against strategy, and moving away strategy. The moving toward strategy is compliance. Most children facing parental indifference use this strategy. They often have a fear of helplessness and abandonment. This strategy, moving towards strategy, includes tries to cope with the need for affection and approval, which is indiscriminate need, which is the indiscriminate need to please others or to be liked by others. So the person tries hard to satisfy others, to comply to others. So the person becomes undemanding, satisfied with little, and agrees to whatever the partner says. The second coping strategy is moving against. It is characterized by aggression. Okay. When it is a child's reaction to parental indifference. The strategy who adopt this strategy, moving against strategy, they try to exploit others. They try to have control over others. They have a strong need for power. So they want social recognition and prestige. So they try to control others, exploit others. That is moving against strategy. And the final coping strategy is moving away. This is characterized by withdrawal. So the person who adopts a moving away strategy tries to solve his problem by becoming self-sufficient. So, Horney's ideas of neurotic needs are more social than biological. Freud's needs are biological needs, but Horney's needs are more social. And Horney developed her theory of self. She believed that we have two types of self, the real self and the ideal self. The real self is who and what we actually are. The ideal self is the type of person we feel that we should be. The real self has the potential for growth, happiness, willpower, etc. But it also has deficiencies. The ideal self is used as a model to assist the real self in developing its potential and achieving self-actualization. When the real self meets the ideal self, we feel satisfied, we achieve self-actualization. Whenever they feel that there is a gap between what they should be and what they are, they begin to hate their real self. So Horney calls it or names it despised self. Whenever there is a gap between the real self and ideal self, the individual develops or turns his or her real self into a despised self. So Horney Horney opines that there is the tyranny of the shoulds. So we search for glory. I should be loved by everybody. I should be powerful. I should be a winner. So these shoulds make problem for us. Coming to evaluation of Horney's theory, Horney talks of penis envy, rejects the idea of penis envy and Oedipus complex. Rather, she talks of female supremacy because the female has the power to procreate. Many of the Horney's ideas were not accepted at that time, but later they are being accepted by the feminists. Nowadays, the feminists are accepting Horney's ideas. Again, the major negative comment about Horney's theory is it is limited to the neurotic. Horney talks about neurotic needs. Horney leaves out the healthy persons. However, she puts neurosis and health on a single continuum. She is of the opinion that we all have neurotic needs within us to some extent. Another neo-Freudian is Harry Stack Sullivan. Sullivan defined personality in terms of interpersonal interaction, interpersonal behavior. So for him, relationships are primary. So without interpersonal situations, personality has no meaning. So Sullivan emphasized interpersonal relations. Sullivan describes personality from three perspectives on 3 points. First, dynamics of personality. Sullivan conceptualized personality as an energy system. Actually, I told you, he emphasized interpersonal reactions, interpersonal relations. So, whenever a person is interacting with somebody else, he is transferring energy, according to Sullivan. Suppose I am teaching you, I am transferring actually energy to you. So personality is an energy system, according to Sullivan. So energy can create tension. It has the potentiality for action, or energy can transform. Okay, it can be transformed, or it can the potentiality for action, according to Sullivan. It can be the energy itself, or it can create tension. Tension means it can energy can make somebody act. So he further divided tensions into needs and anxiety. Needs can be related to the general well-being of a person, and anxiety is a chief disruptive force in interpersonal relationship. Whenever anxiety is there, the interpersonal relationships are in danger. And a complete absence of anxiety, there is also another tension. It is euphoria. And according to Sullivan, personality develops in a way in which our perception of things change. So personality develops in stages. Horney also talks of 7 stages of personality development, and these stages can be distinguished in terms of our levels of cognition, levels of perception. The way we think distinguishes our or describes our personality development. So Horney talks of 3 levels of cognition: prototaxic, parataxic, and syntaxic. Prototaxic level contains the primitive experience of infants. Experiences whenever the newborn infant, the experiences of the newborn infant, she cannot understand her experiences. She cannot communicate her experiences. Just she tries to differentiate the experiences. A newborn baby, but she cannot communicate it. She cannot understand it. She cannot express her understanding. Whether it is dull or it is red in color, she cannot express it. So it is prototaxic. Then the second level of understanding is parataxic. Parataxic understanding is pre-logical. They are not logical. Suppose we show a doll to a child, okay, to a 1-year-old child. We show the doll in front of her, then we hide the doll. What the child does, the child tries, doesn't search for the dolls. But whenever we show the doll, the child tries to grab it. If she is successful in getting the doll, she thinks that her action is causing the doll to appear. But she doesn't understand that the doll is visible. Because the doll is there, she can have it. So her understanding is pre-logical. So it is impossible to accurately communicate during the parataxic stage. The child makes erroneous assumptions about cause and effect. As I told in the example I gave just now, the child thinks that her actions are causing the doll to appear, but actually her actions doesn't causing the doll to appear. We are showing it, so the child cannot understand it. So the child makes erroneous assumptions, and as the child grows older, she can think logically with the help of language, symbolic thinking with the help of symbols, and she can accurately communicate what she thinks or what she means. That is syntactic stage of development. Sullivan talks of 7 stages of development, which he calls developmental epochs. And to Sullivan, as Sullivan emphasized the interpersonal relations as the basic thing of personality, he thinks that with the development of ability to establish interpersonal relationship, our personality develops. So interpersonal relationships determine our personality development. And to Sullivan, adolescence is very important. That's why 3 stages out of 7 stages, 3 stages have been devoted to adolescence period. And Sullivan believes that much of the adulthood problems arise from problems in adolescence. Problems during adolescence gives rise to our adulthood problems. That is Horney's theory. We can make a evaluation. Horney makes emphasizes on interpersonal relations, but Horney's theories has lost popularity in recent years. Not a lot of research has been generated by his theory. So it has not been experimentally very much verified. Okay, but he has emphasized on interpersonal relations, understanding of causality, etc. These are on the positive side of his theory. Okay. We will discuss more theories of personality tomorrow. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
You too have a good day.
Have you any doubt?
You too have a... No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You too have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll meet tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.